Okay, Zoran, you've just finished your discussion at the dev stage or in Reisbergers. So can you share some impressions of the third Agile Serbia Conference?
This is our third year with the conference. I think with conference we are maturing. Yeah, more and more people certainly expressed their interest, and there was very good speakers. We had this year we used technology as well, so we did some online as well, and we tried to use some of tools, additionals, to promote the networking and discussions. And we have, of course, our famous Agile Corner for coaches and for people who want to ask questions. So overall, I believe, and I think it's another successful year. So we're raising a bar again. I wonder what's going to be next year. So I don't know.
Me too. The topic on the dev stage was effective approaches to adopt evolutionary design practices. So can you tell us what was the most interesting question referred to Joe Reinsberger and you? Was there any specific situation that you might like to share with us as an important highlight of the session?
The session was quite interesting because in the software industry is growing each year so tremendously, and so many companies appears from everywhere. But I think it become obvious, become apparent for the majority of the or some part of software engineering community that some of these practices has shown that some better results, and if you utilize them and use them, you are have more chance to succeed in delivering better products and delivering with better quality and etc. etc. So the question, this session has two parts. One is how to convince business to give it that time and how to incorporate that in a everyday working life of an engineer. And the second is how do you convince engineers, particularly we have lots of juniors and new engineers, how to convince them that this practice is a good one. So there was lots of good advices from GB about this, what you can do. You need to show certain things, and you need to spare some time, and you need to try and educate people, and on that level. So I think the session was quite interesting and quite dynamic, and there was lots. I'm sure we finished. We extended the session a little bit, but I'm sure we could discuss even for another hour. So I think there will be, still lots of people who will be not convinced, but I think the companies who are more utilizing some of these technical practices, and particularly who is trying to use things like DevOps, will succeed in the future, I'm sure. And so that's probably about everything what I would say about this session. Yeah.
Okay, you coached many teams and you're definitely one of the most experienced coaches in the region. You helped a lot of companies during their agile transformations. So I was wondering, what are the most common challenges that companies face on their way to becoming agile?
Sure. Agile is usually very, very related to IT or development, but I think that's not enough. I think the key here is the business agility, how to being able quickly transform some ideas, check that idea, develop that idea, and start generating some value or, as we know, some money on that. And I think lots of emphasis at the beginning when the Agile Manifesto started was on the development. Yeah? But now after a while we discovered that once you start addressing that part, something else appears on the top of your challenges. So I think business agility is something which is very important. And I would say the company culture, because Agile is all about mindset, values, and principles. So if you want to be Agile, you cannot be Agile unless you change your culture, you change your organization to be more flat, try to experiment more, accept that you can't predict everything, you need to really experiment, even fail sometimes, and learn from that mistakes. So for me, I think there is a common pattern with all these companies, being small or being big, is that some companies learn about Agile and know the fancy word being Agile is on their plan, but lots of these companies don't really understand what that means. So usually my job is to explain to everyone in the company what means being agile, and not just development, explaining everyone how they can contribute, how they can help. And I know this sounds maybe fluffy and talking about culture and everything, but really that's probably the biggest challenge. And usually companies fail when they not prepare to change their either organization, to change the people. And sometimes you need to really convince people, but sometimes you really need to let go some people who are not supporting that kind of strategy for the company. Yeah?
I have one more question regarding that changes, those big changes like cultural changes, organizational changes, etc. Where should they start? Bottom up, top down, any specific department, who should be the change agents, etc.?
Okay, that's a quite interesting question. I mean, from my experience, there shouldn't be top down or bottom up. It needs to be on both sides, because if you do from bottom up, you may get stopped by the top management. If you start from the top, people from the bottom may not be convinced. So it needs to be from both sides. The second, lots of companies want to copy some template to someone who use that. For example, at the moment is ING in banking industry is one of the example everyone wants to copy. And my answer usually is you cannot copy someone's template or someone's way of achieving agility. By the way, I believe agility is the journey rather than destination. So you can always improve, and I'm sure some of these big companies who are famous for being agile, still they're improving and they can improve. So you can't copy that, but certainly you can learn from their own experience and try to adapt that experience to your culture, to your domain, to your product. Everything what you do, of course, because agile is based on iterative, incremental approach. So there is no way from tomorrow we're all going to be agile. So you need to start small step, learning, experimenting, expecting, and adapting. And I believe every company is very complex adaptive system, so you need to really try certain things. Some things will work, some things will not work. Yes, you need support. Lots of companies want to do themselves, and they start doing that, and after a while they get in kind of nowhere state, or they not convinced they're achieving anything, and they may even stop all this, or may at that point ask for additional help. The problem with that is you already, when you arrive, like for example, an agile coach or someone who will change agent, who will help, like external one, sometimes you need to kind of redo all that work and start from the beginning. So I would say that you really need to have external help, and that coach should help you to create some kind of overall goal and vision where you want to go, and what's the first things which you should try, experiment, and learn from that and utilize that knowledge later. When you have success within a company and you have concrete example within a company, that's much easier to use that and convince others to help. But I don't think so. The solution is just with development. I think everyone needs to have their own take on this. They already need to know what they need to do to support all this. So I would say that's probably what probably they need to do. Yeah.
And finally, what is your message for the Serbian IT community?
What's my message? I think we all obsess about certain things. So everyone now is talking about Agile. I think, Agile is a great thing, but on the end of the day, we all want to deliver better products and deliver better results. So we need to find a way in our company, learning from others, learning from our own experience, how to deliver better value to our customers, and make our customers more happier. And I think that's probably my message to community.
Thank you very much for this interview.